Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing our inspirations and taking part in an activity which could really help any fellow witches out there, or not even that, just people who are generally enthusiastic about manifesting the right life for them, the perfect world for you, whatever that means, because perfection is subjective. I've literally got a shirt on for it today. I found this amazing shirt in TK Maxx because it's true. Whatever you find as the dream is different to the next person. And I think reminding yourself of that it helps me personally realize that actually there's enough room in this world for everyone to be successful and abundant, for everyone to get their own slice of the pie, as it were. Because I used to think that everything that you want to be in life, the person you want to be, or the things you want to have, or the job you want to possess, wasn't going to be achieved by everyone in life, because I felt that the things that I wanted was going to be so similar to everyone else that there wasn't enough of that for me, or, you know, my wishes and my dreams that I wanted to manifest was cliche and it was similar to everything else that everybody else was trying to manifest in. But that's not true. When we look into who we are inspired by and who has kind of moved us or left an impression on us throughout our pathway, our walkway we've gone down on, the different parts of people and their stories and what they've done in life and why that left a lasting effect on you, those people obviously stood out for a reason. You know, we're all doing life completely differently, we're all wanting things and working in different ways, otherwise there wouldn't be specific individuals who are sticking out from the rest of the crowd, from the rest of the people in your life. And also how I like to see it is that where I'm at now, where you are at now, like who you are as a person, who I am as a person, what I'm doing in this very moment right now, from a series of actions I put into my life to bring me to a place of what I find happiness. The people who I've met along the way has carried me. I see them as all of the parts of my brickwork, I guess. So if I imagine myself as like a triangle and I'm at the tip of that triangle, all of what's going on down here is my structure, what got me here, what holds me, what keeps me together, are the people, are the connections, are the things that have moved me, that have inspired me. Being aware of who it is that inspires us on a daily basis can really help us with our manifestations too, because those people are physical embodiments, they are actual tangible beings, they are a physical representation, they are living proof, they are living energy demonstrating a life that you desire or an energy that you aim for. We can feel their energy, practice what it would be like to step into their energy, and I've always used that tactic when I'm needing a certain kind of energy in my life. Like if I'm about to go into an interview, I will sit in silence for a little bit, close my eyes and imagine myself stepping into the body of a good friend of mine that has a lot of confidence, or a badass character that I watched on TV the other day, and I will kind of create this persona, second version of myself, I guess. And you might even want to go all out there and give her a name and say, I'm going to be Jennifer today, and step into that embodiment of power that you want to manifest into your world, into your life. And it's literally as easy as that. A lot of people think that manifesting is magic and it's, unachievable. We're literally manifesting stuff every day. We're setting intentions of being someone every single day when we wake up, regardless of if we're a witch or if we believe in magic or not. What I'm going to do today is tell you about some of the people in my life who has brought me to where I'm at now, to create the person you're looking at right in front of you, which will hopefully in turn, as you're listening to me talk about them, encourage you to do the same thing. It would be really good if you guys could grab a notebook or some paper and start jotting down the people in your life which have made you find your authentic self. What about their soul? What about who they are? What about their story makes you feel like being a better person. The reason why I came up with this idea today is because this video has been sponsored by, once again, one of my longest lasting sponsorships on this channel. I've never been sponsored by a brand continuously before until Ana Luisa approached me last year, I think, and I'm really grateful for it. I wear their necklaces in almost all my videos. They are a jewellery company. It's high quality jewellery for a good affordable price. They're very conscious about the environment and how they impact the world, so they always offset all their carbon emissions, and they have recyclable boxes, and I absolutely love that part of their mission is bringing people really nice jewellery without having to cost the planet. Ana Luisa is a US company, and it is Mother's Day over in the States very, very soon. I'm putting this out there to anyone who wants to order in time for Mother's Day, which you will have to do before the 5th of May if you want to surprise your mum with a lovely gift this year. But honestly, these can just be gifts for anyone who means a lot to you in your life, such as your mum, such as a loved one, a sister. And so in light of all of that, I wanted to kind of make this video as a homage to all the women in my life who have empowered me, inspired me, and motivated me. Use the link in my video description to get 15% off. Some of these products start at $39. Have a good rummage, have a good look to see what's in your price range, but it goes all the way up to, depending on what you fancy. I got 3 pieces here that I've picked myself. I got this little daisy one. How sweet is she? If you can't tell from looking at all my previous videos, I have been kind of layering all of my Ana Luisa jewellery because at this point I've got so many. And then in this mustard one, this is literally, actually I think this order might be my favourite Ana Luisa order yet. Look at this, beautiful things. And I've seen a lot of people wearing this sort of style of necklace before, and I've always been like, ooh, that looks nice. And last but not least is this one. I'm always shocked with how like dainty and adorable they are. As you can probably tell by my ring, I love heart jewellery. To be fair, I just love hearts in general. I could have them all around my house and in my clothes and everything, and I'll be a very happy girl. I've used them for a while now. I've had no problems. None of them are broken or anything like that. You get a 365-day warranty as well, so even if something was to happen, I'd be covered. But I mean, I haven't needed that. And there's always different options, so you can kind of wear it as a loose necklace or a tight one, which is really good for if you want to layer up, because you can obviously make the pendant sit at different places on your neck. This is so adorable. So yeah, don't forget to use my link down there in the video description. A big chunky 15% off. And thank you so much for everyone who has ever bought from them through me. Because of that, they come back to sponsor me again. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so hopefully by now you've got yourself a notepad, paper, a pen, or whatever, or maybe you just want to sit and really reflect. This is actually a little bit of a bonus tip for any tarot readers, as well, as I've always believed this to be a really good learning tool for those of you who are trying to get to understand the characters on your tarot cards. One of the biggest tips I gave in my Tarot Learning 101 video, which I will link around here somewhere, is that it's really helpful to associate a card to somebody in your life, so that when that card comes up for future readings, you can just think about that person you have in your life that reminds you of this character, and it helps you just naturally talk about this card, know the definition of this card. So seeing as this video was inspired by Mother's Day, obviously I'm going to start with my mummy. Obviously she's constantly popping up in my mind during times in my day where I'm like, what would my mum do? What would my mum say? What has my mum taught me? Or I will naturally gravitate towards doing something in a certain way and I'm like, oh, I totally got that from my mum. And the greatest thing I've ever taken from my mum is her open-mindedness. I don't know if it's just because I was a kid, and when you're young you kind of like jump on bandwagons and you think, oh my god, everything I see is so true, especially on social media with all the witch hunting and cancel culture, which is madness. It's easy to just take something for face value and be like, That's what it is. He said so. He has all the information. My mum is very grounded, and she used to hear me say certain things that I would believe so easily, or talk about someone in a way that sounded very black and white, and she would kind of give me that voice of reason to be like, have you considered things from another perspective? Do you actually know what they're going through? Did you think about maybe they're doing that because of this? Have you heard all of the context? Oh, she's very selfless, so she gives people the benefit of the doubt. She just constantly wants to help other people, sometimes maybe too much, which has kind of bit her in the bum a little bit later on in life. I feel like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite a selfish person. I know what I want and how I get that, and like I just sometimes have tunnel vision in creating a life for myself that's perfect and exactly the way I want it to be. And sometimes when other people get in the way or like try and use up my time and energy, I'm very protective of it, and I'm like, no, like I need to do what I need to do. And as much as having some of that is good, I think it's also really important to be that helping hand for somebody every now and again. However, my mum's got a lot of bite. She's very ambitious. Her whole life she has helped organise protests. She's been like the spokesperson of a animal rights movement group, and she's constantly doing things to create positive change, and I think it takes someone very ambitious to do that. And I see her also wanting to do things even now with the attitude of, well, why not? Like, why can't I kind of thing. She's never like boisterous with it or like intense. Like, it's always like a really firm but fair approach. Like, she just quietly gets on with her goals, and she has that tunnel vision, and once she's off, she's off. Because to me, sometimes when someone's too ambitious, they kind of lose their head. But she's this really nice middle ground. She's a Libra, that might be something to do with it. And for all of those reasons, I gave my mum the card of the Queen of Cups. It would have been very easy to pick the Empress, as she is my mum, but I feel like the Queen of Cups is a little bit more focused, I guess. She's a bit more ambitious, I guess emotionally charged as well, because my mum obviously helps people and moves forward with love. The Queen of Cups, she's got a little bit more bite to her. So sort of sticking to the theme of Mother's Day, my next role model is Colette Butler, or Mummy Tard, as some of you might know her, because she is a mother, but she's not my mother. She is the mum of a family which could arguably be the very first family vloggers on this platform. And I grew up watching this family. The whole lot of them mean so much to me. Shay in particular has changed my world in more ways than he will ever know. Colette essentially helped me manifest the life I'm in now, because she was basically living the life that I so badly wanted. You know, I grew up watching YouTube when there was a transition of YouTube just being a hobby into being a job. I was watching this world kind of be created that opened up a career in a space that felt way too good to be true. You know, like being a social media person can be something that pays the bills. It was mind-boggling, and seeing how she did it and how she kind of paved the way for the rest of us really helped bring me towards achieving that too. She's married to my biggest role model. She's literally married to the man of my dreams. I know that sounds a bit weird because I was young at the time, and she was this goofy, silly, fun woman who could also be gentle, soft. She has like this graceful but fun approach. As a kid growing up, I picked up so many life lessons from them. It helped me realise what abundance was to me. You know, abundance was family, it was having a good time, it was being goofy, it was being silly, it was having a sense of humour that takes life not as seriously. This family, Colette, was impacting me so much that it made me want to do that for other people, because I know how it feels to be moved by somebody else that you're watching through a screen. They started off doing these vlogs in a time of financial struggle. They were quite poor, they didn't have a lot of money to their name, and they literally just grew a mass. And although they obviously wanted to teach people with their videos and with their vlogs and stuff and their podcasts and things, they wanted to be that person who can give advice. they also ironically actually taught me a lot of stuff unintentionally as well. You know, I had built this person up to be someone who I saw as incredible and a huge inspiration, someone I felt had the dream life, and obviously with recent circumstances they've fallen into some difficulties later on in their career, such as dealing with addiction, some mistakes on Shay's part. And I think that itself, even though it was really tragic to kind of see somebody you love kind of crumble right in front of you, or like a dream that you've looked up to crumble right in front of you, that itself I feel like shows that everything isn't necessarily as good as it seems on the surface of things, which I started this list off by saying that my mum taught me a lot about. All of that stuff that I kind of wanted to be and looked up to was a choice, and it was something that takes a lot of hard work and dedication and setbacks and obstacles. So to see them try and move on from that has continued to kind of inspire me. So that kind of proves to me that it doesn't always have to be perfect, because it never is perfect when it comes to being in a committed relationship and bringing up a family. And for Colette, I'm giving her the World card, as this card itself I feel like speaks a lot about life lessons in general and kind of coming out on top of different obstacles. Because she is a naked character, I always think of her as being authentic as well and vulnerable. The World card is obviously about being on display worldwide as well, and I feel like that's very fitting. I see that kind of graceful but goofy energy with the World card as well, considering that she's dancing and she's supposed to be being silly and she knows how to not take life too seriously, but she's still quite graceful. You know, she doesn't give off the full kind of energy. She's a lot more experienced than that. She's got a lot more like knowledge behind her and life experience, because she is the last card in the entire deck. The lighting has gone because it's taken so long to film this video. Okay, so I've got artificial light on now, so it might look a little bit different. We haven't got the natural light gracing our presence, but... So the next lovely lady slash mum in this video is Cam Clifford. She is another YouTuber, another content creator. There will probably be a lot of YouTubers in this video because, let's face it, it's what I do. Obviously I'm going to look up to people in the same career as me, but the reason why I look up to Cam isn't really necessarily for the fact that we have the same career path, because actually her world is entirely different to mine. There's a lot you can take from someone who's living in a parallel universe to you, because you can take those parts of somebody's coping mechanisms and apply it to areas in your own life that need that same kind of energy. Cam Clifford was a teen mum. I started watching her when she made a lot of videos on her experience with being a mum at the age of, I believe it was like around 14. She vlogged her kind of experience and her hardships, but not only that, I really admire how she took a situation which a lot of people would see as, I don't want to say a hindrance, because obviously it's a blessing when you give birth to a child and it's an incredible thing, but you know, she potentially had a setback there. Her life took her in a direction that she could have responded in two very different ways. Not only did she choose to be the mum that she really felt she should be for this child, but she kind of made that struggle her advantage, and she created a community of people who watched her go through this process. Now I'm going to put a little bit of a trigger warning here, so I'm going to put up here where you could skip to if you don't want to discuss the topics I'm about to, but I'm just going to briefly cover the recent situation that Cam Clifford has also been going through, which just continues to grow my admiration that I have for the woman. So her partner, the same guy that she brought 2 kids up with now, was going through difficulties with mental health, and though Cam has also experienced her fair share of mental health stuff, but her partner recently unfortunately had committed suicide because of his struggle with depression and medication and stuff. I wish her nothing but the best, and I don't want to glamorize her story. You know, she's going through something very difficult. Like, she's got a lot of healing to do. She's got a long way to go, but I just can tell by her character that her story will change so many people's lives. I think it's amazing that she's got this good balance between showing things online and being raw and authentic and keeping people in the loop, but also remaining very spiritual, making sure she's healing and looking after herself, and her whole family just seem like incredible people as well. I love her podcast. There's a lot of power that you can find in vulnerability, and I'd like to make a video about that because it's something that I've been working on, how you can kind of unlock parts of your world and your pathway when you embrace those things that you usually might shy away from. The fact that opened up a massive doorway in her life, and for that reason I gave Cam the Star card. The Star card is all about getting vulnerable, showing your true authentic self, but it's also the healing card after a difficult and dark situation to bring her to a much more peaceful and authentic place. Seeing as we're sticking to the topic of mums and motherhood, I'm going to have to say my Nanny Dolly is someone I've spoken about on this channel a few times. She's definitely going on here in my list of female role models because she was such an incredible woman. Unfortunately, she's not around anymore, but the reason why she was my role model was because everybody who knew her had nothing but positive and amazing words to say about her. I think there's something really admiring about somebody who lights up a room and has benefited so many people's worlds, and I would love to one day be that person who people have nothing but good things to say about. And I kind of also want to put Adam's grandma Betty as well in this same category, I guess, as it were. I love people who are larger than life, and I think those to positively impact everybody that they know, and they are just someone that everybody wants to be around, and especially if they are an older person but nothing about them screams being an older person. I've always wanted to be that energy that people enjoy and feel good around. Like, I want to be that person that people sit with and say, like, she feels comforting, or something about her makes me want to stay around. You know, it's the way you treat other people, it's the way you talk, it's your warming embrace, it's how nurturing you are, it's how open your heart is, and how authentic you are as well, because they have a very good and firm idea of who they are and what that means, and they are unapologetically themselves. And I think a lot of the people on my list are that way. I love people who can just say it as it is, or are so comfortable in themselves that they don't mind showing parts of themselves that might encourage the person they're opening up with to open up too. And they both ooze a lot of like gratitude and happiness as well, and I love it when someone is grateful for the little things. So for that reason, of course, I was going to have to give those two the Sun card. The Sun card is bright, it's youthful energy, it's kind of childish energy, a kind of young pair of eyes, and seeing the world as a bright and positive place with tons to be grateful about. Obviously, with it being a sunshine, it's a personality type that would just light up the room and shine a light on negative situations or negative people, or just bring the most like real, raw, authentic part of someone or a room out, shine a light of truth, I guess, into a room or onto people. So now I got the mummies in my life out the way, I want to move on to some women who are still very inspiring in their own ways. Though it's not children, women have a really magical way of giving birth to really like emotional, beautiful, creative ideas and artistic manifestations. So that being said, Melanie Martinez. Her creative expression and openness to experiment in areas that maybe aren't mainstream or areas that haven't been done before, her ability to just go with what her gut and what her heart thinks and feels is amazing. Like, I find her music very unique. She brings something refreshing and new to the industry. I love her kind of creative confidence in that way. She also has a confidence in her style and the way she expresses herself in clothes and makeup and hair. She just like flows through life in the way that feels right to her, and that is something I'm also working on. Like, I want to just have my intuition guide me through all the different walks in life, whether that is through my fashion choices or my makeup choices or my hair choices or my content creation. Like, I just want to go with what feels right and not have anything externally influencing me. I just want to be me. So even though I'm inspired by Melanie, it doesn't mean I'm gonna copy everything she does left, right and centre, because that's not the point. It's not about copying who she is, but it's copying how she chooses to do what she does, and those choices she makes come from her authenticity, and I want that exact same experience for myself. She's one of those people that just want to do everything herself because it's exciting to her, and also because that's where she gets her enjoyment. And I feel I kind of resonate with that. Like, I don't have a lot of hobbies outside of what I do because this is my hobby, and that might seem like a hardworking person because it means that I'm never not doing this, but this is the exact same thing that keeps me going and I enjoy. I just really enjoy how she makes everything that she is passionate about her work, and that's just continued to lift her off into like amazing places. Everything that I love and enjoy, I really want to make it into what I do, because then, as they say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, or something like that. That being said though, in no way is she an overworker. I also really admire how she is very in tune with her healing process and looking after herself. She's very conscious of her kind of spiritual energy. She embodies that in her day-to-day routines, and how she uses her spirituality into her creative work, but also in her private life. Like, she uses those things to ground herself, keep her in a good state of mind, and to look after herself. I gave Melanie the 9 of Pentacles. I find the 9 of Pentacles very glamorous. She enjoys the environment she's put herself in, so obviously she's a very abundant card. Melanie has found herself a lot of riches, and she knows how to enjoy that in her own way. Like, I feel like with a lot of celebrities, they go over the top and they don't focus on the kind of bigger picture. 9 of Pentacles is very slow energy. She's not, you know, out clubbing, doing drugs, like racing fast cars. I mean, you can do what you want with your riches, I guess, but I love the energy of the 9 of Pentacles coming from gratitude and enjoyment of every step of the process. It's a very present card, but also it's a very isolated one. It's a kind of independent card. I don't see Melanie as someone who needs someone else or necessarily looks after anyone. She looks after herself. She doesn't necessarily need other people. She's good in her own space. The next one is somebody who I feel like a lot of people would disagree with being role model potential. However, as you can probably tell by a few of the other people I've already mentioned, I really respect people who can be authentic, who don't have a filter. I've always been someone who overthinks how someone's going to perceive me, and I'm always in the head of the other person who's in the room that I'm talking to. And I really like respect and look up to people who don't seem to have that and can be true to themselves and say it as it is. And for that reason, for about 7 years now, I've really looked up to Trisha Paytas. I understand she's had her moments. She's definitely one of the most spoken about people on the internet, and not always for the best reasons, but I feel like that is partly why I do look up to her. I've watched this person evolve over the internet for, I think, about 10 years. I've watched her now. She was an entirely, I cannot explain to you how different she was when I first started watching her, but she learns and adapts and changes in the public eye, which is what I feel like a lot of people can't do, especially with cancel culture, not giving people the chance to adapt and change their ways. Like, she started off wanting to troll, and she started off wanting to be this character I guess we can all laugh at, but she actually found most of her success when she was who she actually is. You know, she's discovering a lot of her mental health issues now, which is part of finding her identity, is unapologetically herself. And whether we like her or not, you know that you're getting things as they actually are. And if I compare her to a lot of the other people on YouTube, I just feel like a lot of us are going to a script, and it's really nice to see how that can benefit somebody's life and somebody's career. Not to mention all of her body positivity stuff I really like as well. I like how she owns her body. She is very proud of her body, and she knows how to kind of use it to her advantage in a way, I guess, because she's made who she is and what she looks like as part of her brand. She's also tackled things around eating disorders and stuff, and I really respect that because I've had my own struggles with that, so I understand a lot of the stuff she does say, and I do fully support her on like her whole journey with that. And I find it really nice to watch the very messy process of somebody's life kind of happen in real time, because you can watch these characters on TV and film, but it's not real at the end of the day, and I think you can't get any more real than her. And I like being able to watch realistically how somebody's crazy life story is unfolding right in front of you. And for that reason, I'm going to give her the Empress card. I feel like the Empress card is very open, honest, says it as it is. She's just kind of like so comfortable in her own sort of skin that she can have very honest conversations with people. And I also feel like she's very loving and giving, but that's because she knows her own worth. I also feel like this is a very bougie card. You know, the Empress loves the finer things in life and is also very happy and comfortable growing and expanding as a person, but also the Empress definitely does enjoy the finer things in life. She does enjoy being amongst beautiful things and showing off kind of what she has. So the next person on my list is Bunny, aka Graveyard Girl. She is another content creator here on YouTube. I just love seeing people who clearly are enjoying what they do. She's always just made stuff that is once again true to herself, and my favorite kind of era, I guess, of Bunny was when she was doing a lot of her kind of paranormal stuff and also her vlogs and her lookbooks and stuff, because I feel as though when she went into Does This Thing Really Work world, it was a lot about what the people wanted, and I feel like she responded to the numbers that series was bringing to her channel, and although it brought her more success, I think it kind of took her away from her authenticity and what she actually wanted to do. I've always loved her style. I think Bunny was one of those people that opened me up to experimenting with what it is I liked and being okay with having hobbies and interests that are weird. You know, she's that girl that was showing her collection of baby dolls that she had behind her, the person who would sit and hang out in a graveyard, and it didn't matter if that wasn't normal and if that's not trendy, she was making it anyway. And it was really nice to see a community say, this isn't necessarily what I like, but I love that you love it. She's also been on the platform for a long time, and I admire any YouTubers that have stuck around doing the same thing for years and years, because I feel like I've been on here for bloody ages now, so I always respect people a little bit more when I know that they've been here from the very beginning. Seeing her talk about the paranormal and the afterlife and hearing her beliefs, wearing these crazy witchy cool looking dresses, wearing lots of skulls and having crazy sunglasses and going charity shopping, and it got me into charity shopping at a really young age. That was what sparked off my desire to look for things for my own taste and not just to rely on what celebrities are wearing. I actually really liked how she didn't collaborate with a lot of people, and she's quite an isolated person, I guess. She likes her own company, and it was nice to see someone like me in that respect, because I'm very much like that. I just like to create stuff, and for all of those reasons I gave Bunny the High Priestess card. A very spiritual card. She's quite a quiet card. She keeps herself to herself, quite reserved energy, but also still being conscious of everything around her, and always goes with her gut. You know, that moon in the card is the symbol of intuition. On a very similar wavelength to style, Leader, which I've just realised she was called Leader Bunny, wasn't she? Leader Mare was a YouTuber who, well, I say a YouTuber, I think maybe she was even MySpace days, but she was the first alternative role model I ever had. Anybody who was part of the emo culture back in the day would know who Leader is. She was the one who kind of paved the way for the rest of us girls who wanted to be alternative. She had the amazing hair, the really cool photos, she had a cool style. I guess in short, she just helped me figure out what was right for me, and she was the reason why I decided to go red and then try all the other bloody colours under the sun. Thanks to Leader, my hair's broken. I'm joking. And for that reason, I'm going to give Leader the Moon card, as I believe that the moon is about going down a pathway that intuitively feels right, but may be the kind of unknown or the alternative route. Likely to be something that we could potentially fear, because I remember trying to do alternative styles was a little bit scary when you're at school and you might be judged for it and it's different to what all your friends are doing. My next two people I would kind of put into the same box in a way, because they do remind me very much of each other. Molly Burke and Lizzie Veliquez. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Molly Burke is a blind YouTube content creator. You can watch her stuff, I'll link it somewhere. And Lizzie Veliquez has a condition which means that she basically has to eat a massive amount of calories a day. Her body basically rejects the food or the nutrition. What these girls both have in common is similar to Clifford. So they built a career upon the situations that they're in. Molly has tried to break down all the stigma and myths and isolation, I guess, we feel around people who are blind and the blind community. She's tried to really make it as approachable as possible for us. And Lizzie, on the other hand, similarly talks about how things aren't always as they seem, so a lot of people might not want to approach her, or she gets a lot of stick online because of the way she looks. She has an appearance which maybe could potentially scare people off or make people worried to talk to her or ask her about it, but she tries to encourage people to actually hear somebody's story and not just see people for just like their look. And they're both doing very similar things but in very different ways, and I love how they took a step back once again and made it their strength. Molly is incredible for how passionate she is for fashion and for interior design. I mean, she is blind. It blows my mind every time I watch her do fashion videos or interior design videos. Like, she can put together a room better than I can. She can put clothes together better than I can, utilizing other things that she does have, such as feeling things, like knowing the colour, like picturing them in her head. So she hasn't let that stop her, and she's just continued to find her identity regardless of whether she can see that in a physical form. And for that reason, I'm giving those to the Chariot card, because the Chariot card embodies the power of will and charging forward with a really assertive energy regardless of the things that they can control and the things that they can't. The Chariot is that fine line in between the two. So my next one is Helen Anderson, once again another content creator on here, and it's mostly down to her creative process, the fact that she pushes a lot of boundaries down and she tests what hasn't already been done on the platform. I love that she's always going the extra mile to do something refreshing, and with so much content now that has already been done, I like that she tries new things out and she tries to set new trends, not only in her content but also with her style and fashion choices as well, experimenting with what her identity is, and she's okay with evolving that, because I feel like a lot of people miss the whole point of finding your identity when it comes to your fashion choices, because it's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be a process, it's supposed to change and adapt. And once again, not only does she make trying new things in terms of fashion look fun, but even the content she creates, you can tell she has a bloody good time doing it. And I love watching people just enjoy themselves, and I definitely would consider her a hard worker. I always get really happy for her when I know that she's bagged herself a really good brand deal, or like she's working on a really cool project. Like, that inspires me and boosts me to try and find my own space and trying to create my own success in the same way. And for that reason, of course, I'm going to give her the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is a creative suit. It's also a very sunny and fresh one, so she always brings some sort of freshness to YouTube, in my opinion. And I feel like the Queen of Wands leads the way and paves the way, and also inspires others by doing. So Mia Magic is someone who I've only recently kind of got into. I really love her stuff. I think she's another person who clearly loves what they do, but also is very unapologetically themselves. Like, she's well aware that some people won't understand what she is and what she's doing and how that works, but teaches and educates people who do want to know, and even if they don't necessarily have the same faith as her, you can still learn so much from her. Like, she's a very mindful character, and she's very conscious of, you know, our planet and what it means to protect that and be grateful for the things that we do have. And those of you who don't know, she is a witch, and she focuses mostly on nature and manifesting things like money, for example. But the thing is with her, like, I feel like you can enjoy her on a surface level kind of way, like the fact that she shows you how you can be more at peace mentally, or how you can just be more grateful for things. But then you can dive a lot deeper and look into some of the really intense rituals that she teaches in terms of healing or working through some really deep-rooted issues. And although some of it does look a little bit crazy, because I mean, ritual work does not always look like sunshine and flowers. Sometimes it's tears, sometimes there's lots of chanting and like naked woman running around a tree. I actually think it's only unusual for us to look at because we're not used to seeing it, and the stuff that we do on a day-to-day that we think is normal wouldn't actually be normal, such as sitting in front of a TV screen for like 5 hours in the evening. That's considered like a normal activity after work. So I like that she's bringing that, I guess, into the mainstream world. And for that reason, of course, I'm going to give her the Magician. The Magician is about manifesting things. Obviously, it is a very witchy card anyway, but I do love how it still focuses on nature around the border. In order for us to be abundant, the world needs to be thriving too. And I think also the Magician is all about having knowledge and willpower and using those two to create. It's a go-getter card as well, and I think Maya is all about being on your game plan and focusing on like each point that is necessary to get through before we reach our manifestations. So on a very similar wavelength to me and Magic, another content creator who's quite similar to her and dips in the same sort of topics is Harmony Nice. She does a lot of topics which inspire me to feel more comfortable about putting on this platform, because it is quite daunting to take part in content which you don't really see in the mainstream world and you know could potentially get judged. And I didn't actually think I would have an issue with that until I started creating content, and I was aware that some people thought it was weird. So once again, she's paving the way, and she's been on the platform for so long now, particularly bringing that life into mainstream YouTube culture too, because she was doing a few collaborations with YouTubers that weren't in that world, and it was really nice to see that breath of fresh air here. But no, not only like internally, I think externally as well. I love her kind of aesthetic, as it were. I like her fashion choices and her style, like her photography, and also how that's evolved over time. She was much more conscious of those things before, and she was putting a lot of work into her aesthetic and looking like, you know, a witch or someone who creates the kind of content she does. But now she's kind of moved on to it into a less materialistic version of herself, I guess. Like she's stripped back with makeup. She's not as concerned with that kind of thing, and she's, you know, she's not on Instagram as much because she doesn't have a smartphone anymore. And it's really lovely to watch that process happen, like to watch somebody's journey evolve and adapt and change, because once again it makes us realize that that's the whole point. Like we're not supposed to be the same. You know, your set of beliefs that you have today might be very different to how they are in a year, and I think she embodies that really well, and she also teaches that really well. And for those reasons, I'm going to choose the Temperance for her. I think the Temperance is also a very emotional card. Like a lot of the Temperance speaks about mental health, putting spiritual and mental health hand in hand, and how, you know, things like tarot cards can be good tools for that. The Temperance is also the scientist of the deck, so trying new things out. So I feel like the way that she brought a new sense of those topics into this platform. The Temperance also favors trial and error, so testing things, testing the waters, as it were, trying out all the different kind of witch practices and working out who you are and what that means, and knowing and understanding that one person's way of doing rituals is very different to another. And last but not least, we're going to finish off with someone who I've made an entire video about before, so I'll link you to that down there below, but Pamela Coleman Smith. And just in case you didn't know, you haven't watched the video that I made about her, Pamela Coleman Smith happens to be the illustrator of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, the most famous tarot deck there is. I think the biggest thing I've taken from her story is the fact that your fame and your financial success does not equal to your worth. I have a hard time with obsessing over numbers and like what my relevancy is and how important I am online, that sometimes it really like knocks my confidence in real life and it affects my self-worth, and I can really sometimes like give myself crap if I feel like I'm not doing well when it comes to my career. But I think her story teaches you so much about how all of that is subjective. Sometimes you don't truly know the impact you are still making or the impact you will continue to make years and years down the line. I think her story is a really good example of that. She also didn't sit in any societal norms. She just lived the life she wanted to live in the present moment, and that is something that I've very recently tried to start working on. Like I realized that my best life choices seem to be decisions I made in the moment and the ones that felt right for me then. Like if something feels right for you in this moment and you're deciding on something, whether to do this or that, and you're stressing about whether you will regret it, whatever you decide to do, if you wanted to do it in that very moment, then it is the right choice. And she also taught me that you are not expected to be or do anything other than the thing that you want to do. And it's easy to get caught up in what your friends are doing, what your family are telling you to do, but everybody's form of happiness perfection is different. So, and not only that, know your worth too, because even though she's one of the most successful artists in the world, she obviously financially struggled when she was alive. And even though it's tempting to, you know, say to brands like, oh, I only charge this, or like undersell your art or undersell my readings or whatever. And for that reason, I'm giving Pamela the Fool. He definitely just trusts the process by going with exactly what he wants in that present moment. I believe that he makes choices that just feel right to him. He's not looking at anybody else, anything else, because he lets his just heart and his feelings take control. And he also travels very lightly, meaning he's not concerned by fame or finances. You know, the materialistic things don't mean anything to him. It might also be really cool if you could let me know in the comment section below some of the people in your life which you look up to. Share the love, because I want to hear what other people's are as well as mine. Really break down each person into like bullet points of what you believe that they bring forward which inspires you, because that itself can really unlock some things that you might need to work on yourself and some things that you might want to start bringing into your life. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching. Once again, do make sure you go down there in the video description below to look at Anna Louise's stuff for 15% off, or you can buy something as a gift for somebody to celebrate. Join me on social media such as Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. I have a tarot reading Facebook page and a tarot reading Instagram. If you want to book a reading of me, you can do that on either one of those. Subscribe to this channel to be notified every time I make a brand new video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.